friends, and welcome back to another episode of Question and Answers with me, which I kind of want to retitle Prima Questions or Project Prima Questions. So the deal is, every weekend I'm going to make a video for you guys, so send in your questions with the hashtag Project Prima Question Time, and I will answer them on Saturdays and Sundays. On this episode of Project Prima Question Time, I'm going to answer some of your questions from last week's Q&A video and the questions I asked on Twitter and on Facebook. Hannah Walker, she wrote to me, she asked me how and what is the best way to get side splits. Best way to get side splits, in my opinion, is just really consistent stretching, making sure that you are opening up your hips in the morning, making sure your whole body is warm, making sure your back is warm, and your hips are ready for the stretching. The actual stretch for 2 minutes minimum, and with intervals of 30 seconds, and try that at least 4 times. And then be practicing your splits in the morning, in the middle of your day, and in the evening before you go to bed. The Dance Attitude asks, do you use the flexi stretcher or a different resistance band? I use a band called the Deutscher band, and it's made only in Germany. I actually bought mine in a sports store in Germany. Lisetta Trella asked, could you explain a few of the differences between Russian ballet and American classical ballet? In my opinion, the Russian technique for training is supreme because they actually have a syllabus for your body growing up through the system. So that means that you're training your body for each age that you're at, and you're using the system of 180-degree turnout as the base. It's not only something that comes naturally, it's a way of working with the muscles, and therefore you get a beautiful Russian back, a spine, and a base because of that turnout. So I feel like that's one of the biggest differences. Americans can train stronger, I think. This fearless attack at anything from petit allegro to pirouettes. There's pluses and minuses in every technique, but definitely the Russian training is more strict to a syllabus. Kelsey Elizabeth asks, how do you make that pretty bun? Well, I always have a really nasty little elastic band that I use, and I just put my hair up in a ponytail. Some days I separate them into 2 separate ponytails and just pin around. I can do a separate bun tutorial if you want, because there are lots of different styles that I use, because I don't like to do the same thing every day. It's quite boring. Do you prefer the weather in Russia or California? I prefer the weather in California more than Russia, but Russia's my place of work, and if I lived in California, I would take the weather for granted, I think. If you had a chance to have dinner with one person, living or dead, who would it be and what would I ask them? It's kind of a morbid question because one of my best friends, Guga, just passed away, and I would have dinner with him and ask him, don't go walking at night, and don't slip and fall, and don't die, and don't leave me. I would love to go back in time and have dinner with King Solomon, because one of my passions in life is searching for wisdom, and I love spending time with anyone who's older and wiser and just picking their brain. I lived with for around 5 years here in Moscow, and if I could, I would transport right now and have dinner with her. She was a venture capitalist and she knows business inside and out. I would go back in time and have breakfast with Queen Esther and just try and soak up her amazingness. There are too many people to pick from, like Varishnikov, Cipriani, people that I look up to in my business ventures and in my artistic ventures. So I would have a big dinner party for a week and it wouldn't end, and anyone could come, whoever wanted to. In Russia, or what is this coming? Do you find yourself slipping into English when in Russia, or Russian when I'm in America in normal conversation, or are you able to flow between both languages easily? Wow. What the author is trying to ask me is if I slip into Russian when I'm in the States, and that's so true, and I definitely slip into English here if I don't know the word to something, or I'm really passionate about explaining what I wanted to say, and there's an English word that fits better. So what I like to call Ruslish, which is like Russian and English, just like that. Jane Briska asks, Do you ever fear of doing certain steps on point? Do you have any advice for overcoming fears of turning on point? And the best things that I learned very early on was from my teacher Yvonne, who also passed away from cancer, and she used to say, if you're going to do something full out, and don't be afraid of falling. Because what Mr. Balanchine was all about, like, if you're afraid of falling, then you're afraid of dancing. So I'm not afraid to fall back down, and all it is just falling so you get back up. There's also sort of a daredevil sense inside me when I'm approaching a pirouette or a trick or things like that. I'm not afraid to fall down in order to do it. So practice makes perfect, and don't be afraid to make mistakes in the beginning. Punches are all about getting used to where your boundaries are. So yes, it is like ice skating. You will fall a bit in the beginning, but then you'll find your way, and I guarantee it's worth it. This is going to answer all the questions that I got regarding the different tools that I use. My dance bag is specially made, custom made for me by a woman that I love, a small designer in Santa Monica called Seal Sailor. I asked her for a big bag, and she made this like Mary Poppins sized bag that I could fit everything in. I use Deutscher band, which is the German resistance band. Those black things that you always see in my videos, they're something I picked up in Tokyo around 2 years ago. GOOGO Pro, and it's the high version, and they are Shikot dance technology. And are you still doing Bikram yoga? I used to be an avid Bikram yoga person. I wake up at 5 in the morning to go to Bikram, and I wish I could. I just can't afford it at the moment. It's really expensive, and I'm really struggling financially lately. This is my favorite place to go in Moscow. Season, it's different, and definitely Moscow in the summer is amazing. Right now they've just done sort of a remodel of the city, and it's really fun to ride my bike in an area where I live, which is near one of my favorite art galleries. I just like to walk by myself. The area that's near my place, near the Kremlin. And I feel like I'm always discovering a new area, because the area near my church, which is Kitai Gorod, is like this hipster. It's so awesome. Like anything you want you can find. It's like so underground, like grunge, kind of really cool, young atmosphere, so I really like that. And how do you deal with homesickness? Well, YouTube, thank you guys so much, and social media, because I use Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. I want to start using Beam. I mean, I love social media and keep you in touch with people. I've turned into some sort of an extroverted introvert. I miss my family, and of course I'm homesick, but when I'm working I really like to get into my own zone, and I'm quite comfortable being alone, and I'm not a person that needs to be surrounded by people all the time. I get really kind of stir crazy if I have to live with people all the time or be around them. When I'm in Russia, it's really sort of my focus time. I like the States because it's in the summer and it's different and it's fun and I'm surrounded by people, but here in Russia it's almost like a meditation to go through the difficulties of living here alone. Consuelo Perez, special shout out to you. You're amazing. You have been commenting and following me for years now, and I love every time that you write me something. It's so sweet and so uplifting, so I just wanted to say thank you so much to you for your individual support for me and what I do. Do you cook or do you just eat out plus a Prima Bar? The Prima Bar has like changed my life drastically because I don't have to worry about breakfast and lunch. I barely ever have time to cook. I love to cook when I'm in the States because I have easy access to all the things that I need, and I love making Thai food. Here in Russia, I really don't have the money, the time, the energy, and the tools that I need to cook in the way that I'd like to. I probably will make something in my crock pot 2 to 3 times a week. Eating out is really expensive. I make rice in my crock pot and soup, and that's about it. Your Majesty asks, do the other dancers in your company work out as much as I do? I am very crazy and notorious for being an insane sort of like cross trainer and workout person. A lot of girls are kind of catching on. My friend Elisa Slanova is one of the hardest working people I know. She's my inspiration. When I am feeling so down, I just look at her and see that she's studying full-time in one of the top universities in Moscow. She's running a full-time like Point, but in Russia magazine, and she's doing her rehearsals, and she's just managing everything. So there's a new boy in my company who's working really hard, and he's caught my eye in a sense of like, wow, alright, this is the right attitude. For American dancers to Russian dancers are a lot more chill about stretching before class, about cross-training. It's sort of non-existent, so I'm bringing that here. Jerry Cash, you are also another one of my, I like to call them Prima Bays. I coined that term last night on Twitter. Love and support and comment on every single one of my videos. I have to give you guys a special shout out. Jerry Cash is one of those people. He always comments on my videos. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this question and answer. Let me know if you guys want to see more, and I hope that you guys will continue watching my vlogs. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe. If you want to take a look at my clutch line, you can check the link down below. And if you want to be fueled and be perfect and be beautiful for ballet, check out the Prima Bar, and I will see you tomorrow for another vlog. Thanks. Bye!